I've spent the last few months rigorously testing every single AI tool that promises to simplify your UGC and short-form content creation process. Honestly speaking, a surprising number of them completely fall flat when you actually put them to the test. At first glance, every single platform appears remarkably similar with its slick promotional websites and polished demo reels. They all showcase those familiar talking head avatars that boast incredibly perfect lip sync capabilities. However, the moment you actually try to ship and publish real content, those superficial differences explode into massive workflow gaps. Some systems produce video clips that are so obviously fake, viewers can spot the artificiality immediately. Conversely, other tools generate content so clean and scalable that creators are already capitalizing on five-figure monthly revenues from almost nothing. After going through a truly ridiculous amount of trial and error, I finally pinpointed a small handful of tools that genuinely matter. Today, I am walking you through the entire lineup, detailing exactly how I structured my testing process. I will explain precisely where each platform excels and, crucially, where they completely crash under pressure. More importantly, I will highlight why one specific tool must be on your radar if scaling long videos into consistent, high-performing short clips is your goal. That tool, which I believe makes the biggest practical difference for most creators, is Vizard. To be clear, I am not just carelessly slinging opinions based on a quick look or a demo video. I established a very rigorous testing rubric before I began evaluating anything for this review. I consequently treated every single platform like a real-world growth engine that needed to prove its worth. I scored the performance across 5 core pillars that are absolutely essential when creating content designed to actually sell. The first pillar is realism and quality. The core question is whether the resulting clips feel genuinely made by a human being. We evaluated if the cuts, the generated audio fidelity, and the overall pacing felt believable, or if they sounded obviously robotic. Next up is speed and efficiency. This measures how quickly you can get from raw, long-form footage to a finished, publish-ready clip. Can the system allow you to churn out dozens of clips in a single day, or are you forced to wait several minutes just for a single render to complete? Ease of use is the third critical factor. We examined if the user interface felt friendly and intuitive for daily use. We also needed to determine if you required a PhD in prompt engineering just to generate anything remotely usable from the start. Versatility covers how many output formats are supported and the quality of customization options available for different channels. Can the platform truly handle multiple languages and presenters without requiring a complete overhaul for each change? Finally, cost-effectiveness looks deeper than just the headline monthly price tag advertised on the landing page. We factored in the true cost per usable clip, including time spent on iterations and any necessary rework later on. I pitted 4 popular tools directly against these demanding metrics for a fair comparison. First up was V3, which serves as the raw generative video engine that many other platforms frequently piggyback upon. Next was UGC Ads AI, clearly designed as a beginner-focused turnkey generator for quick results. Arcads is the super powerful platform that has a definite UGC-first orientation built into its foundation. And lastly, we evaluated Creatify, which positions itself as budget-friendly and leans heavily on various internal templates. I will walk you through each one's unique strengths and unavoidable weaknesses in the following segment. Then I'll clearly tell you where Vizard slots into this competitive landscape and why it deserves your attention. Let's begin our deep dive with the crucial pillar of ease of use right here at the start of the review. Ease of use is one of those abstract concepts that you can only truly judge once you start actually building something meaningful. Regarding V3, it is undeniably beautifully powerful, but the user experience can often be quite annoying for many users. The core interface itself looks clean and well designed when you first load up the application. However, access to the full power can be inconsistent depending heavily on your current geographical country, sometimes requiring a VPN. V3 offers different generation modes like text to video or frames to video, which is quite versatile in theory. The engine fundamentally expects you to already be a seasoned, professional prompt crafter to get good results. If you lack the specific knowledge to write prompts that force visual consistency, you will inevitably waste a significant amount of valuable time. A major constraint in many V3 setups is a restrictive 8-second output ceiling for individual generations. This means assembling any longer narrative requires carefully stitching together several perfectly generated short segments manually. For the overall user experience score, I would categorize V3 as being merely decent, given these friction points. Shifting focus to UGC Ads AI, the onboarding experience is incredibly guided and straightforward for newcomers. You simply pick your desired avatar, paste in the necessary product details, select the aspect ratio, and choose a duration. Script generation options are also available within the system, although the AI-written scripts tend to feel a bit basic. This platform is excellent for beginners who want to run a quick initial test without getting bogged down in complex technical settings. Arcads presents itself as feature-rich and highly polished right out of the gate, which is immediately apparent. It features minimal prompt windows, an extensive actor library, and numerous high-quality voice options, including premium integrations. Once you navigate past the initial setup, the system is very intuitive, but its sheer depth can definitely overwhelm absolute novices. Based on user experience, I would place Arcad's ease of use somewhere between great and excellent, depending on your prior background. Creatify boasts a very clean dashboard layout and an impressive product autofill feature that pulls assets from a simple URL. It follows a straightforward flow from the initial script input through the avatar selection to the final rendering stage. While it might not be the absolute most flexible tool available, it remains pleasant for achieving quick turnarounds on projects. Now we move to the next important metric. How fast can you actually obtain content that is ready for publishing? In terms of speed and efficiency, V3 proves to be quite slow because the engine must build every single clip completely from scratch. The required prompt iteration cycle combined with the rendering time makes the entire process very time-consuming overall. If you don't have a pre-existing image for character consistency or a solid prompting framework, you will constantly be stuck regenerating content. Furthermore, every single one of those necessary regeneration attempts quickly eats away at your precious allocated credits balance. UGC Ads AI is impressively fast for producing just a single, isolated clip from start to finish. You can genuinely go from having a core idea to having a rendered output in just a few short minutes. The primary catch with this speed is the hard daily caps imposed on the number of videos you are allowed to generate. If your current plan only allows for 50 videos a day, your ability to test different creative angles is severely throttled unless you pay more. Arcad's is explicitly fast and engineered from the ground up with mass-scale output as a primary objective. Its remix and batch generation features allow you to reuse one project to spin out dozens of variants across different actors instantly. If you are testing many different hooks or targeting specific demographics, these features alone can save you several full days of work. Creatify offers a pretty quick baseline speed, capable of generating multiple variations simultaneously in one go. It can even batch up to 50 separate clips at once, which is a very respectable output number for many teams. The caveat here is that the default edits often still require some manual polishing before they look truly ready. Therefore, the actual time savings depend heavily on how much tedious touch-up work you are willing to do afterward. This brings us to the heart of the matter, realism and quality, which is what truly matters for social media, UGC-style content. V3 is certainly capable of generating incredibly realistic snippets, provided you manage to nail the prompt perfectly on the first try. The major downside here is the consistency problem and the practical usability for advertising copy. We saw those annoying auto-captions sometimes appearing as complete nonsense text blocks in the final output. Turning those short 8-second clips into one coherent, multi-cut ad requires frustrating manual stitching every single time. So even though the base visual quality is high, it becomes a real pain when trying to achieve reliable UGC at any meaningful scale. For UGC Ads AI, the lip sync quality and overall vocal delivery are generally considered passable for initial testing purposes. It functions well enough for running quick, low-stakes tests, but you hit a very noticeable ceiling very fast. The limitation comes from the small selection of available actors, meaning your creatives quickly start looking repetitive to viewers. Arcad's is the platform where the standard bar for realism gets significantly pushed forward in the current market. It achieves exceptionally tight lip syncing and very sharp video output quality across the board. When you combine these high-quality outputs with genuinely good scripts, the results can convincingly pass for real, filmed UGC. Crucially, Arcad's also offers integrated B-roll and scene generation to help make the content feel more organically shot. Creatify's straight-to-camera clips are capable of looking quite convincing when viewed in isolation, which is a definite plus. The primary issue arises because the platform heavily relies on those built-in, templated edits that can sometimes scream template to the audience. The raw outputs themselves are solid foundations, but they often need extra editing polish to truly look like a genuine moment. Let's examine the features and versatility pillar next, looking at what tools each platform provides beyond just generation. V3 remains very limited outside of its core function, which is simply the raw generative capability of its engine. It is fundamentally a generative engine, not a complete end-to-end UGC production suite designed for daily marketing. UGC Ads AI offers a very basic feature set. You get voices, language switching, and basic script generation, and that's about it. It functions reliably for what it promises, but it certainly does not offer any deep or advanced customization options. Arcad's, in contrast, is absolutely packed with features, including custom actor creation and voice cloning integrations. It also supports advanced functions like extending a single frame into a new, longer clip, which is very powerful. The platform is heavily built around iteration, remixing projects, and creating batches all within the same environment. Creatify includes many useful built-in tools, such as a generator that makes product videos just from an uploaded image file. It offers a batch mode and even an integrated manager designed specifically for handling many different ad campaigns. The trade-off is that you often sacrifice fine-grained creative control and might still need to export to a dedicated editor. Finally, we address cost effectiveness because price only truly matters if you can actually ship winning ads consistently. For V3, the cost becomes expensive very quickly once you start factoring in the necessary iteration cycles and credit consumption. If you can be extremely strategic and very careful with your inputs, you might make it work, but it is not friendly for high-velocity testing. UGC Ads AI has very predictable and straightforward pricing structures for its subscription tiers. The Pro plan translates to a reasonable per-video cost, around $5 if you are generating 50 videos every month. However, the actor limitations mean you might be forced to spend extra money elsewhere to keep your creative testing fresh. Arcads shows a higher per-video cost when you look at the mid-range subscription tiers on paper. But those powerful productivity features like batch creation and custom actors really move the needle on your overall return on investment. If your main priority is testing content rapidly at a large scale, its value proposition quickly becomes apparent and worth the cost. Creatify often ends up being one of the cheapest options available when calculating the cost per single video output. It also offers very generous quotas regarding the number of videos you can attempt to create each month on their plans. The necessary trade-off here is the extra time you must dedicate to manually polishing those exported clips later on. This polishing is required if you want the final result to genuinely compete with those higher-end, more expensive creatives. So after all that analysis, where exactly does Vizard fit into this whole competitive picture? I'm telling you all of this detailed comparison because Vizard attacks the production problem from a fundamentally different angle. Instead of trying to synthesize entirely new and perfect actors or wholly original scenes from simple text prompts, Vizard does something else. Vizard instead locks onto your existing raw long-form footage and makes extracting the working parts ridiculously simple. Here is precisely what Vizard manages to do right, and this is why those specific functions are so important for creators. First, it intelligently auto-finds the moments within your video that have the highest potential to go viral or capture attention. The AI specifically detects things like punchlines, strong emotional beats, and compelling opening hooks automatically. This means you honestly do not have to guess where the absolute best cutting points for short clips actually are in your source file. The auto-schedule feature allows you to set exactly how frequently you want to publish new content to your channels. This takes the task beyond just spitting out raw clips. It focuses on getting them live consistently so your overall channel can organically grow. The content calendar feature lets you manage every single piece, tweak it, and then publish it across all major social platforms from one single interface. This eliminates the need for constant exporting, manual uploading, and tedious compensation for different aspect ratios and caption styles. Beyond those three main headline features, Vizard delivers several practical wins that other tools frequently overlook. A huge advantage is that Vizard prioritizes your real footage as the primary source material for everything you create. If you have a podcast, a recorded webinar, or an interview, Vizard transforms that raw asset into dozens of natively looking short clips. This approach directly contrasts with trying to manufacture authenticity using entirely synthetic AI-generated avatars and fake settings. The editing presets offered by Vizard are specifically tuned to feel like native short videos, not overly produced advertisements. They avoid those heavy-handed filters and aggressive text animations that often make content feel like a cheap sales pitch. Iteration speed is another major benefit. If you want 30 variations around different hooks, you can test quickly. Vizard helps you achieve this rapid testing without forcing you to rebuild every single clip from a completely blank canvas each time. The exports are intelligently platform-minded, handling native aspect ratios, correct captions, and necessary metadata seamlessly for easy posting. Simply put, if your entire content pipeline is built around utilizing real creators and capturing great long-form moments, Vizard scales you effectively. Most generative tools struggle here because creators usually don't need to invent a new person. They need to leverage the people they already have in their footage. Vizard nails the core utility of turning your owned long-form assets into a consistent stream of performant, shareable, short-form content. Let's move to the final practical verdict section to summarize these tool comparisons clearly. If your primary goal is synthetic actors, absolute control over every visual aspect, and you are ready to learn and spend credits, then Arcads is the winner. Arcads is the top recommendation if you absolutely must create thousands of completely synthetic variants and have the budget for that workflow. If you are simply a beginner who needs a quick, easy-to-use generator for running just a handful of initial tests, UGC Ads AI is the solution. UGC Ads AI gets the job done fast enough when you just need basic outputs to see if an angle has any traction at all. For those prioritizing the absolute cheapest per-clip volume and you are perfectly fine with doing a bit of polishing later, Creatify is genuinely hard to beat on budget. But here is the key takeaway for the majority of creators watching this right now. If you possess long-form content like podcasts, interviews, or recorded streams, and you want a steady supply of authentic shorts with minimal hassle, Vizard is the tool for you. Vizard is not attempting to reinvent the concept of the on-screen presenter. It focuses on maximizing the moments you already own. It truly nails the workflow of turning your existing raw video files into genuinely shareable, high-performing assets every single day. We are now at a stage where AI is undeniably changing content creation methods across the entire industry. There exists a massive gulf between what is merely an exciting novelty and what offers actual demonstrable utility for growth. Some of these platforms are fantastic, exciting experiments that are fun to play with for a short time. Other platforms, like Vizard in this context, are the ones that actually move the needle significantly for your bottom-line business growth. For creators and brands who rely heavily on their long-form content library, Vizard perfectly hits the sweet spot for cadence. It expertly saves significant time, drastically reduces the need for external editor overhead, and scales your testing loop effectively. Most importantly, it accomplishes all of this scaling without making your content look obviously synthetic or cheap. If you are curious to see this process in action, I have placed a link to Vizard down in the video description below for you. You can use that link to try it out for yourself and witness firsthand how fast your long videos can become a whole month's worth of shorts. This is not about hype or exaggeration, it is a genuinely practical method to stop waiting on edits and actually start shipping content. The result is content that performs better, grows your audience, and frees up your creative resources for bigger ideas.